This is part 2 of the series. Sean Patrick Flanagan, June 23, 1989. Flanagan was stopped by the City of Orange, California police on October 13, 1987 for jaywalking. He later willingly confessed to killing 2 people in Las Vegas. Flanagan claims that in late September 1987, he met James Lewandowski in Las Vegas. Later, Lewandowski made sexual advances on Flanagan, which infuriated him. Flanagan met Lewandowski at Foxy's Casino in Las Vegas on October 5, 1987, and he made plans to murder him. The man was enticed back to Flanagan's motel room. The two were sitting on Flanagan's bed on October 6, 1987, when Flanagan abruptly rushed for Lewandowski, placed him in a headlock, and strangled him between 4 and 6 a.m. After a few minutes, Flanagan let go of Lewandowski and discovered that, although being unconscious, he was still breathing and his heart was beating. Flanagan rolled Lewandowski's body from the bed onto the floor, pushed a mattress on top of the body, and punched him in the throat with his fist. Later that day, Flanagan went to get a knife and trash bags and hired his motel room for another day. Over the course of the evening of October 6 and the early hours of October 7, Flanagan methodically dismembered Lewandowski. Flanagan sliced his torso in half and severed his head, limbs, and legs. After putting the different parts in trash bags, Flanagan left them in dumpsters outside an apartment building close to his motel. Flanagan told the police that he was walking on Sahara Avenue in Las Vegas around 9 p.m. on October 10, 1987, when Albert Duggins offered him a ride. He accepted Duggins' invitation to the Sahara Hotel for cocktails. Flanagan agreed, and he claimed that within 15 to 20 minutes he had plans to murder Duggins because he thought the man was gay. The two spent a few hours at the pool area of Duggins' apartment complex after leaving the hotel after 2 or 3 hours. On October 11, 1987, at around 3 or 4 in the morning, Flanagan asked Duggins to drive him back to Sahara Avenue. They got into Duggins' vehicle. Upon preparing to start the car, Duggins was informed by Flanagan that he was going to die because he, Duggins, was a fat. After that, Flanagan took Duggins by the neck and choked him. In the process of choking him, Flanagan persisted in speaking to him, telling him that his whole kind should be exterminated and that he did not deserve to live. Flanagan stole Duggins' wallet and clothing, drove his car to a distant location, and disposed of the body. Flanagan freely said that he enjoyed murdering, that he had no regrets, and that he might kill again. Before being taken to the execution room at Nevada State Prison, where he was given a lethal injection, 28-year-old Flanagan, a former Marine, sang church hymns and read the Bible. Deputy District Attorney Dan Seaton, who had charged Flanagan with the murders of 2 gay men in Las Vegas, was among the first row of witnesses. Even though Flanagan was strapped to a table, he raised his head and mouthed to Seaton, "You are just a man. I love you." Those were his final words. He refused the last meal and instead sipped soft drinks throughout the night. Thomas Baal, June 3, 1990, for the robbery and murder of Frances Maves, 34, in February 1988 in Las Vegas, where she was stabbed 8 times, he received a death sentence. He claimed that happened because he was on drugs. Baal was 26 years old at the time of his execution. His parents struggled to stop the execution, saying the reason why he didn't want to appeal the sentence was because he suffered from long-term mental problems and brain damage. Baal talked to friends on the phone and prayed throughout his last night. 25 minutes before the injection began, Baal was put on the table. He murmured inaudible phrases and peered at the 24 witnesses via viewing windows. "I love you all," was Ball's statement as he turned to face the spectators while being strapped to a table in the glass-enclosed death chamber. His last meal consisted of a combination of pizza with anchovies, apple pie, chocolate ice cream, jelly donuts, and several soft drinks. Richard Allen Moran, March 30, 1996. Richard Allen Moran robbed the cash register of the Red Pearl Saloon in Las Vegas, Nevada on August 2, 1984, after shooting the bartender and the patron. 9 days later, he shot himself and his ex-wife. He also made an unsuccessful attempt to cut his wrists. Moran admitted to the murders on August 13 when he called the police to his hospital bedside. He entered a not guilty plea despite being charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder. Even if they noticed that he was depressed, 2 court-ordered psychiatrists came to the conclusion that he was competent to stand trial. In 1978, Moran, who had been a roofer in New York, traveled to Las Vegas with a friend in search of employment. He worked as a bartender at the Bingo Palace for 5.5 years. He became increasingly addicted to narcotics, particularly cocaine, during those years, and would often go 2 or 3 days without sleep. Due to a personality shift brought on by his drug use, he lost his job. He bought cocaine with all of his money. The death penalty was the prosecution's goal. Moran told the court he wanted to drop his lawyers and enter a guilty plea 2 months after the psychiatric evaluations. He also gave up his right to legal representation. He received a death sentence during his trial. On the basis that he was mentally incapable of representing himself, Moran then requested state post-conviction relief. After an evidence hearing, the trial court dismissed his claim. Moran had been spending his final days making telephone calls and reading. At Nevada State Prison, Richard Allen Moran, 42, was declared dead at 12:10 a.m., 3 minutes after the drug started to flow through his veins. His last meal was lasagna, chicken parmesan, salad, and ice cream. In a final interview before his execution, he said the following: "You can't even begin to imagine what it feels like to know you've killed somebody. Innocent people, not self-defense, not some scumbag who was beating his wife and you were coming to her rescue or something. It's like you turned in your membership card to the human race." Roderick Abeyta, October 5, 1998. He was on death row because he broke into his ex-girlfriend's house in search of drugs and shot her twice in the head while she slept. Abeyta was incarcerated in California and Nevada for the majority of his adult life. He was raised close to San Francisco and claimed that his father mistreated him, causing him to end up in foster homes before entering California Youth Authority camps. He started taking methamphetamine when he was just 14 years old, and he was arrested driving a stolen vehicle when he was 17. For a large portion of his life, Abeyta had been in and out of jail. When he made amends with his wife Barbara in 1989, he was living with Martin, who was 38. However, he and his half-brother, Casey Corsmo, went on a drinking binge following a fight with Barbara. They busted a window to enter the Martin residence because they wanted drugs. It appears that Martin's drug use caused him to pass out. Abeyta sat on her back, pulled her hair, and shot her twice in the head when the two failed to locate any drugs. Corsmo pleaded guilty to first-degree murder for his involvement in the case and is currently serving a life sentence with the chance of parole. About Abeyta, State Prison Director Bob Baer said his final remarks were expressions of true remorse and that he hoped his passing would help in the healing process for the family. As witnesses, 3 members of Donna Martin's immediate family were positioned in the front row, about 18 inches from the death chamber. They observed as Abeyta, 46, received an injection of 3 lethal medications while strapped to a table. At 12:13 a.m., the chemicals began to pour into his left arm, and at 12:15 a.m., he was declared dead. A large portion of Abeyta's last day was spent on the phone, including a call to a television station in Reno. He received visits from Reverend Jim Kelly, chaplain of the jail in Ely, which houses death row convicts, and Chaplain Al Fry of the penitentiary in Carson City. He consumed the standard jail fare, which included iced tea, a potato, stewed tomatoes, tossed salad, and Salisbury steak. Vanilla ice cream was the only specific request he had. To ensure that he won't struggle, the prisoner is typically sedated an hour prior to the execution. However, Abeyta asked that no medication be provided to him beforehand. He was escorted by 5 officers into the prison's second-floor cream-colored death chamber. He was dressed in white Nike basketball shoes, jeans, and a light-colored shirt. He had 4 straps covering the rest of his body, and his wrists and legs were secured to the table. Without glancing at any of the spectators huddled around the rail outside the chamber, Abeyta fixed his gaze on the ceiling. Once he was secured, the shades were drawn on the 3 windows in the chamber. Most of the people who watched the execution waited in silence. Abeyta kept staring at the ceiling. He inhaled deeply twice and closed his eyes. 2 minutes after the medicine began to enter his veins, he passed away. Please hit that subscribe button if you like my channel. See you next time. Bye bye.